Hello, welcome to Kingdom Mandate. I am Dimeji. This is where I teach you how to bring the kingdom of God to wherever you are until the kingdom of that place become the kingdom of our God and we reign with him in that particular place. So we are still looking at the things that every single Christian in the kingdom of God needs to know. Now, this one we're looking at today is more like this is exactly what prayer is. You get me? Every single Christian need to know how to pray, but not just praying as in shouting and speaking and asking God for things. No, I mean the praying. I'm talking about is aloneness with God, being alone with God. You get me? Having solitary time with God, spending time in the presence of God. Now, not just that. You get me? But hearing what God is saying and seeing what God is doing. You'll find that in John chapter 5, where Jesus talked about, I can of my own self do nothing, but whatever I see the Father do, I also do it. And the Father will show me great and mighty things than this. You get me? Because the Father loves him, so the Father revealed things to him. He now went further and said, I can of my own self do nothing. As I hear, I judge. So which means we have in the time of spending time with God, we have two basic things that we need to do. We have hearing what God is saying so that we can say the same thing, and also seeing what God is doing. So when you hear and you see what God is doing, what happens is this: it transforms everything. Because now you're going to act like God, and then you're going to judge like God. You're going to speak like God. Act like God because you see him do it and you replicate it. Talk like God. You hear God say it and you also say it because that makes your judgment righteous. That's exactly what Jesus said. The secret of Jesus' ministry is based on these two. He hears what God is saying and say it, and he sees what God is doing and he does it. He said, all the miracles I did, they are because God is doing them. You get me? He saw God doing it, so he does it. I have this story that someone shared with me. Now, in that particular story, she there was a child that was dead. She went there and she saw what God was doing in the spirit. The child, God raised that child in the spirit. Now, all she needed to do was to also replicate, do what she saw God do, and the baby will rise. But unfortunately, she was afraid, so she didn't take the step. So, whatever you see God doing, you get me? You see God doing, do it, because God will use your eyes. He will look through your eyes and it will be recorded in your brain that you actually see something happen. When you see that thing happen, act on it. If it's evil that you see, then speak what he tells you to speak. You get me? That is the way it works in the kingdom of God. We have to be in tune with him, see what he's doing. We have eyes. You get me? In the kingdom of God, you have spiritual eyes. You can see. In the kingdom of God, you have spiritual ears. You can hear God. So let's be attentive to this. When you go to prayer, don't just ask God for things. Just look for what God is doing in that situation and listen to what He's saying. Say what He says, do what He does. You get me? Because of your own, you can do nothing for the kingdom of God. But as you hear and you say, and as you see and you do, then you do great things. So let's take the time to get to understand all that it takes to actually uh, get to the point where we can hear God and we can see God do things. And when we see, let us immediately replicate it.